This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app, on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
Nope, we haven't figured it out, folks. I don't know if we're live or not. Yes, I believe we are. Are we live?
So.
Does it say
so?
Does it say so? All right. Welcome to
minute.
another fun-filled adventure of Johnny and the Greg. Thank you for joining us. For those of you who decided to skip the Grammys and listen to us, that's fantastic.
Was that tonight?
I guess so. I just saw it on Twitter of like 5 seconds ago. And I was
See,
like, oh.
and the thing about award season is like I'll get all of the goodies tomorrow. Like through social media, like it's not even just seeing who won. I'll get all of it.
Okay, so here's my question. And this is not planned, but I just popped in my head now. Has social media ruined it?
Ruined
shows like that. Like you don't have to see it. You just said it. You don't have to see it. I get it all tomorrow in 5 minutes.
I think so. I mean, most definitely. Like there's I don't need to tune in. Like it used to be like you want to watch like the opening number, like the opening monologue, or like in some cases with the Oscars, it was like a full-on musical number.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I don't need to make that. I can just catch it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. I think sports is getting like that too.
Yeah.
Where you don't have to,
definitely.
You can just watch the highlights. You don't even need to watch it.
Honestly, that's been since Sports Center for me.
Yes, that's true. Especially for like things. Yeah. And I'm gonna this all kind of works in the first part of our discussion today. The second part, people, hold on. We're gonna talk sports for a couple of seconds, not go in depth or anything like that. So don't worry about that. But we're gonna talk about my plan is to talk about sports a little bit and then transition to any way we can to James Gunn and what he's doing with the DC universe. So hang tight for you geeks out there. So I want to address what we talked about or what I went off on last week about soccer. For the first time in a long time, Ursula listened to it and she goes, you know you're wrong, right? And I was like, and I stood firm and I'm like, I'm not wrong. Explain this to me. And so she was explaining it to me. And the whole time, even with you and with her, the whole time in the back of my head, I'm like, you know, you're wrong. Why are you on this side when you know you're wrong? And so for the people out there that are listening, that are overseas friends or just soccer fans in general, I know I'm absolutely wrong on this. And I was wondering, why did I take such a hard stance? And I finally figured it out. It's because my co-host is so obsessed with Ted Lasso, it sickens me. And it's actually I don't care if you've grown to like the sport. I don't care if you've grown to love the show. I don't care about any of that. What I cared about is when you decided to correct me on when I said soccer, you corrected me on football, and that sent me off. I was like, who are you? Who are you? You're a Midwestern American who could give a shit about soccer until you watch the show.
Football.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm coming off with that.
Well, and I went back and honestly, I double checked. I'm like, I know I said it. So I mean, a simple Google search through like
Oh yeah.
Absolutely, it is the biggest
Oh
sport
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
world. Billions of people play this sport. And I was telling Krista about it today. I mean, she was like, what you guys disagree with last week?" That I was like, "Oh, well, Johnny, and he said he still disagrees that it's the
Yeah.
biggest sport in the world because other countries have, like you said,
Other sports that are number one.
sports that are still very big."
Yeah.
She's like, "But just the sheer amount of people
That's
that
almost
are
not
into
fair, though, if
soccer."
you think about it. That's almost not fair because, like I said, uh, you don't even need somebody to play soccer with. Like, you don't need anybody. You can just
Well,
hit a target.
but we're
and
just
kick a
talking about
ball.
the sport, though. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and you're right, but people can play catch with themselves, just throwing a ball up in the air and do baseball
Right, but there's no
stuff.
sports with catch.
But that's what I mean. It's like, I mean, there's different skills that you can do, and I think in almost any sport, you can shot put you do by yourself. I mean, I did that for a long time, in my youth. But the idea of just people supporting teams, people supporting a sport. I mean, soccer is just that big, and I was I was saying how you were upset of how I even started to like the sport just because I watched a show.
And I was asking myself that, why am I upset at Greg liking a sport? Why do I even care? I'm like, I figured it out. I don't care that he likes a sport. I care that he's trying to correct me on how to say shit. So,
and I'm still like, I am such a noob when it comes to sport. Cause I mean, you're right. There are times in soccer it gets very slow where it's just like there doesn't seem to be like anything happening. But I feel that way about like baseball. Like I can't watch a full baseball game on TV.
I agree to you. I wanted to
there's just sometimes where there's not a lot happening.
Right.
Now, through the show, well, a little bit through the show, because the show, as much as it is a soccer show, it's more about the people in the sport. It's not just about soccer.
Right.
But I did start to pick up like some of the terminology in terms of positions and then a little bit of strategy. So even when you're watching a soccer game and it doesn't seem like there's a lot going on, you can watch certain positions and be like, oh, that guy's trying to do that. That guy's maybe trying to do that. And I'm so green on that aspect of it. But it could be a scoreless football game at any level, high school, whatever. And we've talked about this. I'm watching the linemen, and I'm watching the linemen try to pull off their lineman skills to make a difference in the game. And I think that's probably what it's like for big soccer fans. They're watching either their favorite player or they're watching a certain position, trying to see what someone's doing.
Yeah, no, I think that's with every sport. I was also thinking to myself, why in America is football the most exciting sport? Because I looked up what was the top sports. Yeah. It goes NFL, then college football, then basketball, then baseball, then hockey, right? And so I was wondering, why is the two top spots football? So obviously we have a love affair with football. And I was wondering, why do we have that? And I think I figured it out, but I want to throw it to you and ask you, why do you think it is? I didn't give you a lot of time to think about this.
No.
So I am putting on the spot.
I think because what were those top? I mean, football,
college, football, both pro and college are number 1 and number 2. Number 3 is basketball, 4 is baseball, 5 is hockey.
The only one in there that is a little that might ruin my theory here is baseball. But baseball is what I think baseball is as high it is because it's a purely American sport. Like it was created here and created here at a point like I think it was just after the Civil War or like during the Civil War they created baseball. Yeah. So I mean that's something to be like, this sport's been around that long, and I know soccer's been around a long time as well. And
I'm actually looking up, so keep talking. I'm gonna look up when baseball actually was invented.
The other sports have a level of violence to them, like football being the top. I mean, we like, as Americans, we just like violence, like the head on, like let's smash them, impact sports. I think that's also kind of why we like hockey. But like I said, baseball is just one of those ones that, I mean, there's still a little bit of impact, but I mean, not a lot.
Right.
I'm more interested to almost turn your question and look at it from a different angle.
Sure.
Why was soccer so kept out of the country for such a long time?
That's a fantastic question.
Like, and my theory, honestly, and again, this is off the top of my head because I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
Sure.
I think it is because it was a very like European, maybe seen as a British thing.
So we don't want to bring that over here type
like
thing?
we wanted American things and
Maybe.
hockey, which I know is more Canadian and then trickled down, but it was still seen as like within the borders of North America.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's a great question too. I don't know.
I think that's a great dissertation if anybody with a sports management master's or degree or background would want to answer.
So baseball was actually founded, I guess, the MLB.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I got when it was invented, and I got 1876 in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and now I have here 1839. Who invented baseball? A Civil War hero named Abner Doubleday is often credited with developing the game of 1839. So I think the game in 1839, but the real history is older. I'm on the History Channel website, so that's telling me the history is much older. Instead, he never claimed to have anything to do with baseball. Instead, he served as a Union. Hang on, a pop-up came up on the internet. Sorry. He was a Union major general in the American Civil War and later became a lawyer and writer. In 1907, 16 years after Doubleday's death, a special commission created by the sporting goods magnate and former major league player A.J. Spalding was set up to determine baseball's origins. So they're crediting
like early 1800s. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, you're right. So it's almost with the growth of our nation.
Yeah, and right behind that, in the same century, you've got and I just looked this up. 1891 is when James Naismith created basketball. So I think that has a part of it. Like we wanted those American sports to be here.
I don't doubt that. I tend to think it's a very simple concept, actually. I think the reason why football and college football are number one, and football, listen, this is kind of no one's listening that's going to matter, but I want to throw a message out to the NFL. Be careful, because you're flirting with the idea of football not being the number one sport anymore. And this is how. It's not injuries or things like that. It's not barely touching the quarterback, things of that nature. Football is still, at the end of the day, about winning. Every game matters. There were 16 games where every game mattered. It mattered if you won it or lost it. In the NBA, in the NHL, in the baseball, not every game matters.
That's true.
There's 100 and I think
because there's so many. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. There's so many. So if you lose 15, nobody cares.
Yeah.
You lose 2 in the NFL, that could screw you from a home field advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's true.
Could really. So at the end of the day, right now as we stand, it's still all about winning.
So here's part of my current fascination with soccer. And when I say current fascination, like I'm watching documentaries, I'm watching a fictional TV show, and I'm starting to kind of get into watching Wrexham as a team because they're in a tournament right now that they almost have no business being in, but they're killing it. So that's the underdog. The Cleveland Browns screwed me over as my underdog team. So now I've just moved on to a new sport.
Okay. All right.
An underdog in a completely new sport. So in soccer, in these European leagues, they've almost have like, there's different leagues and there's different level of leagues. Like in baseball, we've got the pros and we've got like AAA and we've got, all those levels. Now the thing is, if you can imagine, I can send you, John, I can send you a great clip from the Wrexham TV show that with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. They explain the whole thing. So each team, if you do well, you get to move up in the league levels to where you want to be into the Premier League, which is the top level. But also, if you suck, if you spend a season just sucking ass, you get dropped down into the lower leagues. So, like, imagine in baseball, if
or even any major sport,
any major sport, yeah. So imagine in football, the Chicago Bears, if they have a terrible season, you're no longer a part of the NFL. You get dropped down to like the Canadian
semi-pro
league.
to a semi-pro league.
You get dropped down to a semi-pro league, and there's multiple semi-pro, and you're still considered a pro because you're being paid to play.
Yeah,
but and there's
you're
like,
not the cream of the crop.
No, there's like 7 different levels. And so if you do well, you are in a position to possibly be promoted to the next level.
Okay.
So that's how that adds a whole nuance to the professional sports where you're like, holy shit. And
well, let me ask you a question.
Does
the worst level get the best players?
No. They don't.
Oh,
they don't.
So it's unfair. It's an unfair system.
It's a little bit unfair, but they do, as you move up in leagues, like your team gets more money to get better players and get. So with Wrexham, with the influx of this money, of this Hollywood money from Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds, and they're still like, they're very open. Like, this is a risky investment for us. Like, we know nothing about the sport when they came in. Yeah. They're seeing it as an investment opportunity, and they just kind of fell in love with the team and the town that it represents and everything else. And they're like, let's do this. But the whole first season, they're just pouring money. Like, the stadium is shitty. The facilities need updating. They're trying to ownership. They're just trying to do all this stuff as owners to set themselves up to start getting, I mean, and compete. Then they do lay out some significant cash to bring in new players. And it turns into like, is this going to be what turns it around? And because it's a true story, you know, it doesn't always go the way. I mean, it's not a Hollywood ending.
Right.
So I don't know, that really interesting.
Yeah. So so to finish my thought, it's NFL needs to be careful because now they're expanding games. They're thinking of going to 18 now, right? Yep. So now what you're going to do is you're not going to develop the players you want to develop on the back end of your roster, which you're going to need because the minute you keep adding more games, you're going to lose players. It's just going to happen. So now I feel like we're at this teetering point where we're starting to get too much football. It's on Thursday, and they're always shitty games. It's on Sunday, Monday, and I was cool with Sunday and Monday. I was cool with that.
You're going to get Saturday games here pretty quick.
Eventually, I think the only reason you're not going to is because maybe they have some sort of backhanded deal with college.
Maybe. Well, you're right. It's television rights at that point. But you could get a Wednesday night game. Yeah, you could. It's going to be like WWE, where you're going to have like maybe one night a week where you don't have a professional football game.
Right. So, and not only that, now they're talking about taking the conference championship games, the games that determine who goes to the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
They're thinking of making those neutral sites.
Really?
So they're taking away. So what's the point of the Packers playing hard and playing harder in the next
field advantage?
Why do that now if you're just going to end up going to a neutral site to play? Who cares? You're taking away the importance of the regular season, which is what I think is the most strong. It's the strongest regular season. Nobody misses a game. You don't, because you only get 6, or at the time you only got 16 of them.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's all I got to watch my team for so long.
I don't like that because
I don't like it either, but
definitely going to hurt. It's definitely going to hurt Green Bay. Cause like
it hurts everybody.
Green Bay is never going to be a neutral site at the end of a season.
No, never.
Like you're not going to get San Francisco and Tampa traveling to Green Bay to play an end of the season
exactly
game.
right. Exactly right.
'Cause
You're
it's
going to
gonna
go
be
to
cold.
you're going to go to a dome area
Yeah.
because what they want to do, they've seen the NFL has seen what the college football playoff has done for that sport.
Yeah.
Because essentially what college football does is, number one takes on number 4, number 2 takes on number 3, and the winner goes to the national championship. Well, if you look at it like that, it's kind of the same thing in the NFL. There's the AFC championship game, the NFC championship game, then the Super Bowl. So they're thinking events for all those.
Yeah.
What they're not realizing, in my opinion, is that they're already events.
Yeah.
Like it's already an event. I mean, it's not like the Super Bowl, but those two games, like the whole neutral site,
but they still, I mean, it is an event because they still make it like the Super Bowl where even pregame you're watching somebody sing the national anthem. There's a halftime show.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's
It is
not all
still an
televised.
event.
It's an event though.
But they're thinking, so the NFL now, guys, everybody out there listening to me, I understand the NFL for a long time has been only about money, but to the fans, it's starting to more and more look like it. It's starting to, so you don't care about any of this. You just want to pay these corporate sponsors so they can they want to have 3 Super Bowls. That's what they want.
Yeah.
And so money's taking the place of winning. It really is, because now you've just devalued the entire regular season, because all it matters now is getting the playoffs. It doesn't matter if you have a home field advantage or not. That doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, because you won't get it. I mean, won't.
So why on the last game of the season where it could determine the 1 seed versus the 3rd seed, I'm just going to rest my players.
Yeah.
Like, who cares then? So you've taken away something like that. That's at least how I'm looking at it.
Especially if you're banged up. You're like, all right, we're not going to play our first stringers because why would we?
I wondered if I was right about this. So I talked to a friend that's a diehard NBA fan. I asked him, how often do you watch the games? He's like 50% of the regular season. 50% of the regular season, his eyes are paying attention. Playoffs, he's all in. I understand.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I asked a baseball fan, diehard baseball fan. It's his number one sport. He goes to at least 7 to 8 games a year. And I asked him, when you don't go to those games, how often are you watching it on TV? He says rarely, if ever. Because it's just, he says I think there's 167 in the regular season. And that's just crazy. And Greg, if you can hear me, sir, you have frozen out. So, no, now you're back. Now you're back. Did you hear anything I said, or were you lost?
No, I at the last end.
Okay.
And then I noticed that we were frozen.
Yeah. Okay. You're not frozen now, but you're going in and out. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, those are my thoughts. And I just and anyway, he says he barely watches. He only watches the playoffs. So they and same with hockey. It's 82 games.
Yep.
They don't watch them all.
No, what I was saying when I was paused is that I'm wearing a Bucks hoodie. Yeah. And it's literally the same thing. Like I get the score updates on my phone so I can see who won and who lost.
Yeah.
But I won't really sit down and start to watch games until the playoffs.
Right. But not with football, right? Football, sit down and watch.
Football, I'm there every game. I mean, and football, I'm watching games that I don't really care about the outcome. Like I'll just watch football.
Right.
Because I like the sport that much.
Right.
So,
and I just think NFL, be careful. You're floating towards, I know you see the money, but you're going to start hurting the sport. You're going to start taking away the importance of it. And that's winning. So,
and you're going to, I mean, with that many games a year, I think you're going to see people retire a lot faster because their bodies will break down.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about what we're really here, folks. Thanks for bearing with us, you non-sports fans. Wow. So DC hired James Gunn and Safran. Is that his name? I always forget the second guy.
Peter Safran. Yeah.
Peter Safran. What has he actually done that makes him like on the same level as James Gunn?
Give me a minute.
Okay.
I will look that up.
He finally released, I guess you could say, well, what he calls it. And I thought this was cool. He called it Chapter One of the DC universe that he's going to expand. Now that expansion, this entire universe is not just cinematic. It's going to be television. It's going to be video games. It's going to be like Netflix. I guess that's television, but it's going to be all encompassing.
Yeah. Movies, TV, video games. That's
Yeah.
what they said.
So, Greg,
Mhm.
after you're done telling us about Saffron, I want you to let us in on DCU's Chapter One, which is titled Gods and Monsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You still don't know what Saffron does?
No, it's a little slow. So he has been a producer on most DC projects recently. I mean,
Okay.
going back to Aquaman, he was
So he's the money man more than
he's
anything.
listed as a producer. Well, he can be part of the story guy. I mean,
Okay.
producers can do that. He did the Conjuring films, some horror. So like,
Okay, so he has some
he's got some other film credits as producers.
right, but that's a connected universe. So he has some experience in that connected universe.
Yep. And also The Nun. Do you know that one? Is
Yeah,
that the same as Conjuring?
That's in the Conjuring universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Annabelle is another one.
Conjuring
that he's
universe.
Done. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So horror has been his kind of thing.
Okay.
He did. All right, let me get through all the horror stuff because the horror stuff is going back to like early 2000 teens.
Okay.
2010. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's mostly been connected horror stuff, and then some films, like some TV shows I've never heard of.
Right,
yeah,
cutting your
like
teeth. Yeah.
getting into that. The 2008 disaster movie, which is in like the parody of
disaster
like
movies when those were
Yep, when they were doing that thing with like the Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
Ooh, executive producer for Connie and Carla, which is actually a film I really like about two women pretending to be cross-dressers in LA. I thought that was a great film. Scary movie, Senseless, Rocket Man. I mean, it goes back to 97. So he's been in the business for a while.
All right. Well, I figured he did. I just didn't know.
Yeah. And it's been, looks like producer has like been his exclusive role, like co-producer, producer. You know, he's got some letters after his name that we would need Danny Trejo on here to really tell us what those mean, because I don't know what they mean. But yeah, he's been a producer of Connected Universe, like you said. So.
Yeah, cool. So, Greg, so from the next DC movie we're going to see moving forward, how's it look? Okay. How's it working? I think it's Shazam, right?
Shazam is the next one. Okay. So what I'm looking for the map that he
had out.
Because really what it does is that it sets up like there are DC films that are currently in the can ready to be shown that
we're part of what we're currently in,
that have been made like pre James Gunn.
Yes.
So and that is Shazam, the next Shazam film, the Flash film that has been on hold for 3 years now, I think, because that's been in the can for a while.
Right.
And Aquaman 2.
Aquaman 2, not Blue Beetle.
Oh, and Blue Beetle. I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
So those four, I don't know in what order, but I'm pretty sure the Flash is going to be the last one in that order, because that one resets the universe.
I believe Aquaman 2 is the last one.
Okay.
I'm really trying to find the article that had the map, and I'm not having any luck, but maybe I'll just go to Collider and they'll list it out. One major thing I think is important to know is that there are DC films that are going to come out, but what DC has had a multiverse forever within the comics, like going back to the early 70s. They called it like the Infinite Earths theory, and they're going to embrace that in the films. So they're going to call it Elseworlds, which is also a very DC comics.
Yep.
And Elseworlds are stories that take place in another universe with the same characters, but they don't impact like the major storylines in the connected universe.
Makes sense.
So like the Batman with
Matt Reeves Batman.
Matt Reeves Batman. That is going to be considered an Elseworld. So Pattinson's Batman won't exist in the James Gunn universe. It'll exist outside of that, and they're still going to make those films.
Right.
And I think they're going to be very good, but don't expect to see Pattinson on screen with Superman and Wonder Woman and Flash.
Yeah.
Also, the Joker is going to exist
in that Elseworld area.
In that Elseworlds place. So with the new films that are going to come out after they kind of hit that reset with the films in 2023. So these got the Gods and Monsters. One of the first thing is an animated series, which I hope does well, but like the general public won't really care about it, called Creature Commandos.
That's animated?
That's animated, yes.
Okay, I thought that was like a Netflix something.
Creature Commandos Max thing. I think it will be an HBO Max, but it's going to be an animated series on HBO.
Okay.
Max. And that'll be kind of what kicks off the Gods and Monsters universe is the Creature Commandos. I don't know how they're going to tie that into a film series, but it's going to be there. So the question is like who are the gods that are going to come in? They're going to do Superman. And it's going to be, right now, the working title is Superman Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of inspirational comic that they're going to pull from
or something like that, right?
Is Superman. Is it Superman for All Seasons? Wasn't that the name? It was a Grant Morrison piece that they did.
Okay.
And it's pure Superman. It's Superman told in like a Norman Rockwell-esque art setting.
Mm-hmm.
Where Clark Kent is a giant farm boy.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of he's a big blue Boy Scout. I mean, he's kind of got a bit of a baby face, but at the same time, he can crush worlds. And so how does that juxtapose? And I'm excited to see what they can come up with that. He says, focus on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I'm worried about, and I hope I can see differences, it's starting to, with James Gunn, you're starting to realize he's starting to have a specific style where you're like, oh, that's James Gunn for sure. And I just hope, and I don't know if he's directing or not. I know he's writing it, so maybe that'll change a little bit. But I'm excited to see. I think the Superman we've been waiting for since Christopher Reeve.
I think it's going to be more that speed.
Yeah. We've been waiting for that guy to come back because there's a whole generation that doesn't know about that guy, you know. And I think the closest, the Superman that I actually really, I guess, you know, it's everybody has their own Superman. And one of our podcast guests, Darren Hafford, says no one beats his Christopher Reeves one in his head, right? That's pulled at a heartstring for him. Who are you? Who's your Superman that you've seen throughout all these iterations, all these?
The one I base it really off of is Christopher Reeve, because that was me growing up, was watching Superman 1, Superman 2, and I knew Superman 3 and 4 were not the best Superman films.
Right.
But if they're on, I'd watch them.
Okay. So mine, I wasn't really into Superman when it first came out. I mean, I liked it, but it didn't grab me. What grabbed me was the animated series by Bruce Timm. That was my Superman. So if he gets somewhere between that guy, I'll be ecstatic.
I think that's pretty spot on. I think of what they're going for.
Yeah.
Here's another the Hollywood.
Oh wait, real quick. While we stay on Superman, Trunks or no Trunks?
I like Trunks.
Okay. James Gunn put out a survey and Twitter saying
the world prefers Trunks.
Yes, the world prefers Trunks, and he also said, this meant nothing. I just want to see what everybody said.
Yeah. Safran had quote, he's like, balancing I said that the rest of the quote is focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage and his human upbringing. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks kindness is old fashioned. So that's what we're going to see. Release date is they're currently penciled in for July 11th, 2025. So
I'm excited for that.
Yep, that's going to be big.
I'm excited. There was one thing that he mentioned that got me, little small things that he keeps mentioning that like make me go, okay, wow, he's really into this, which I didn't
Mhm.
think he wasn't. I just it makes me, it almost gives me a sigh of relief
Mhm.
of like, okay, this guy definitely has a plan. He's
Yeah.
definitely putting it all in motion. He did say there are a couple Marvel people that will be now in DC, which I
Yeah.
thought was interesting. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
who's who, but I thought
Well,
that,
I mean, he has worked with so many
yes,
actors.
he
I mean,
has.
really, James Gunn has been around for a long time, and whether people know it or not, has worked on some very big projects. So, like, he's a man about town in Hollywood. So, and I think people want to work with him.
Yeah, I
So he's
agree.
going to be pulling it. Like,
He's that guy. He's that guy where it's we'll never get Kevin Bacon to be in a Marvel movie. Well, let me give him a call and see what happens.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, he's
and
that
lo and
guy. Like when
behold, he's in a
James, yeah, when James Gunn calls you, it's not a phone you ignore.
yeah, and Kevin Bacon, who, like him or not, is a massive Hollywood star. He signed up to be in the Christmas special of a Marvel project. That's how much he
Yes.
wanted to work with James Gunn and do a Marvel
Right.
project.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's good.
By the
Next
way,
up,
Kevin Bacon, congratulations on your marriage to Kira Sedgwick. Like, that's awesome that it keeps going
I
that far.
some other time, maybe after we're done, Kevin Bacon and his wife have given the best marriage advice ever.
I think
And
you've told me that. Yeah. So
I
go on.
have. So
Yeah.
we'll do that later.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So the next up is a project called Lanterns, which is a Green Lantern TV series,
So probably HBO Max.
probably HBO Max.
Yeah.
One, I think that is a great way to approach the Lanterns is as
I
a
agree.
TV series, because they are long form. I mean, they are
There's so much in that world.
so much. They
Yes.
are intergalactic space cops. I mean,
Yes.
that is what it is.
Yes.
So they're literally, the Green Lanterns have chopped up the universe like precincts, and there are, depending on the size of your precinct, you have so many Green Lanterns that help patrol that area and planets of space.
Right.
That's your basic setup. Now, what I'm a little nervous about is our vision is very much, and this is Saffron talking, our vision is very much in the vein of True Detective, which is an
Oh,
HBO Max series.
very
that
heavy.
is super heavy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm all for the TV series. I don't know if I don't want True Detective Green Lanterns. That seems a little off.
A little hardcore. Yeah.
My reading into this, and it is purely me reading into this, with a statement like that being like the True Detective statement is saying that we're going to focus on like the mystery and the story first, and then work Green Lanterns into it.
Okay.
So it's not going to be, ooh, what cool stuff and visuals can we do with the power rings and the
Yeah.
space cops? It's more like we need to have a solid story for these space cops to go after.
Yeah. The mythology of the Green Lantern, I have always been a fan of it.
Mhm.
And I've never really felt anybody ever, I've never seen really anything that really made me feel like it did justice to it.
Yeah. I mean, the animated films are good, but those don't have the impact that
Right.
like a big budget film.
There was a very small show, but it was computer animated. It was in the Bruce Timm style.
Yep.
But it was weird because it was its own thing.
Yeah. It was like Bruce
but
Timm style minus Bruce Timm.
I thought they did very well though with it. I thought it was well. I wanted to see more seasons of it, but they stopped it after one season. But anyway.
So also in the same lineup is The Authority. Now
wow, when I heard about that,
I have never read any of The Authority. I know what they are. I have just never read them.
Yeah, I read
because I mean, they came out in the 1990s under the imprint of Wildstorm, which was a Marvel property, but it was, we're going to do DC heroes in like a dark and grittier kind of world.
Guys, think of, I'm sorry, everybody that's listening, think of it as The Boys.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to see here.
It's along that level. I don't think as graphic as what The Boys is. In that this is a DC film that they're going to want people.
You mean over the top?
Yeah, not as over the top.
Yeah,
but it is, and I read somebody thought that in a world where you have Superman and the Authority in the current DCU, the comic books, Superman was leading the Authority for a little bit. In the, we know they're dark and gritty. Hey, Superman, can you lead these new young heroes in a way to have them kind of brighten up a little bit and not be as dark and as violent? But it is in a world of DC has always been a world of white hats and black hats in terms of like the good guys and the bad guys. Good guys wear white, bad guys wear black. The Authority, everybody's in a gray hat is kind of what it comes down to.
Okay.
So interesting. We'll see.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see about that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Safran added, they're all kind of like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men.
Oh, Jesus.
They know you want them on that wall, or at least they believe that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah. Well, that is he nailed it. He's right. I've read those comics. I've read those comics. I know what they are. Yeah. So what's next?
Next up is Paradise Lost, which is very simply a all-female island, Themyscira, birthplace of Wonder Woman, and it's the HBO Max series about that island. I don't know if it's.
I think it's going to introduce her.
Maybe I don't know if it's going to be pre-Wonder Woman, post Wonder Woman, or what it's going to look like. But they're going to do an entire HBO Max series on Themyscira. I'm like,
okay.
Should be good. I mean, some of my favorite scenes in the Wonder Woman films, especially in the second one, were when they were on Themyscira.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, that's cool. The Brave and the Bold, which is
such an interesting choice.
The introduction of Batman, the new DCU Batman, so Bruce Wayne and Robin.
Yes.
And we are skipping right to the most current Robin, who is the son of Bruce Wayne and Talia Al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, who Bruce didn't even know he had a son for 12 years.
She basically date raped him.
Yeah. So she has a son and goes away, or she gets pregnant, goes away for 12 years, has a son, raises him to be the next master assassin of that clan of whatever.
Well, he was supposed to be the heir to the demon's head.
Yeah. Who is the head of that assassin guild. But instead he comes back and Batman has to raise him, finish raising him from age 12. And I am not a fan of Damian Wayne, who is the son. Not a fan at all. Because when he came out, he's like, well, we just kill everybody, right? And Batman's like, no. He's like, no, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kill the bad guys.
Yeah. I know where you're coming from, not being a fan of Damian. I wasn't at first. As he has grown throughout the years, I've actually become a fan. I particularly like at first, Damian looked at every Robin before him as competition.
Yeah.
And he wasn't above trying to sneak up on them and kill them.
Yeah.
And I particularly like the big brother, little brother dynamic between the original Robin as Nightwing and Damian. And in the comic books, when Bruce dies, because spoiler alert, he dies at least 4 or 5 times throughout
since Damian's been introduced. Yeah.
Yeah. That Robin became the new Batman and Damian became Robin. And they were like, Batman and Robin was that was their thing. And I love their dynamic. So I hope somewhere along the line we get Nightwing. I think we're going to, because I think there's a Teen Titans thing down the line.
Kind of. So, it's Teen Titans Go. So that's different. We get in the Elseworlds world, we get a Batman Pattinson sequel. Should be good. I don't know what it's about. A lot of people are really hoping it's Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
We'll see, because Mr. Freeze as a character, not
he's not
very
Arnold.
Different. Could be pretty cool.
Yeah.
This next one I'm really excited about.
Oh, of course, I bet you are.
Booster Gold.
Tell me you have not been waiting your whole life for
not my whole life, no. But I would say since I was probably in my late teens or early college, and I'm like, when Jeff Johns started to write Booster Gold, and I'm like, this guy's hilarious and he's fun. His story is really interesting. They did a one series. It was Booster Gold, the greatest hero you've never heard of, because he was time hopping and like undoing things that another time hopping villain was trying to break. And so he's like, yeah, no one knows that I'm like saving the universe, every issue, but because he wipes out whatever the bad guy was going to do.
Right.
For me, I don't know who they're going to cast. I'm sure it'll be somebody young. Booster Gold has a lot of bravado to him because he was literally a janitor that was in a museum in like the 27th century or something like that, some way future, and looked at the Booster Gold like costume and went, oh, that would be awesome. And then he found a time machine. He's like, well, I'm going to steal that outfit, which gives him all of his powers, go back in time and just be a hero in today's time. And that's what he did. And so I'm interested to see what he comes back with. There was a time when I really thought the team that did the movie The Nice Guys, so Shane Black, Russell Crowe, and Ryan Gosling. So if Ryan Gosling was to play Booster, based off his performance in The Nice Guys, I thought that would have been fantastic. I don't know if I like that anymore, but I don't know. Hopefully it's as good as I want it to be.
All right.
Next one I'm not excited about. Supergirl World or Woman of Tomorrow.
I agree with that.
And they're going to focus on, Clark Kent was raised with loving parents, from when he was a baby to an adulthood. His cousin Kara, who is a Kryptonian, has all the same powers, was not raised in that type of environment. She was in the bottled city of Kandor, where she had to slowly watch her civilization die off, and then eventually made it to Earth as a like late teens, early 20s, or 14. So they're going to do 14 years old. So she comes to Earth when she's 14 and is very hardened, has an attitude, and she's going to be, a hardened type of person impersonated. So like a pissed off 14-year-old teenage girl with Superman
that can
powers.
that can break a planet. Yeah.
So
real quick, just so I don't forget, the Superman movie is roughly based off of the Grant Morrison.
It's Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison comic books, as well as the Supergirls. It's based off of some other comic,
Tom King's.
Okay. And the Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin, it's based off of those. All three of those comic book series have all been sold out now. Once he announced this, they flew off the shelves. There's none. You can't get one right now.
Can't find them on Amazon.
Yeah.
You might be able to do digital. Like get them.
So I just think the excitement's there and it's cool, and people are buying stuff to read it up to see what this universe is going to look like. So I just thought that was kind of cool too. So it's almost like James, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So
the last piece of this is where we go a little bit more into the monster thing, and it's going to be Swamp Thing. Swamp Thing is.
I love that show that was on DC for a little bit.
The DC animated show that was on.
No,
right?
It wasn't animated.
It wasn't animated.
Live.
Right.
It was
the
CW. Girl from Teen Wolf was in it.
Yeah, it was CW, and then it was
Showtime. It was on DC. Like they had their their
the
Disney
DC
Plus.
right.
Remember that?
Yes.
It was on there, and
universe.
They had these really cool shows, and then all of a sudden they were like, scrap it all, and they threw it up on
DC Direct or something was called. Yeah, it was on there, and it was because it was on like a private streaming service. It was like a cable show.
Yeah.
So it was swearing, it was violence, it was all that other stuff. And then they re-edited it when that streaming service shut down.
Yes.
And then they put it on like the CW or something for a little bit. And it just didn't really work. I liked it. That was pretty good.
It's just one of the best Swamp ones I've seen.
Yeah. And again, Swamp Thing is a DC character. Even
I'm a huge fan of that guy.
Going back to the Adrian Barbaro film of the 80s, was that John Carpenter? Did he do Swamp Thing?
You want to almost say so, but I don't think.
Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But
I
I
don't.
mean,
Adrienne Barbeau was in it, and
yeah.
I know John was married to her. I don't know if it was at the time, but
The
good
so
job, John.
Swamp Thing is a magical. I mean,
Supernatural.
supernatural, magical, entity who
Mhm.
controls the swamps. Yeah, I think he even like has something to do with like all plant life on Earth
It
eventually.
is. He's
Like
connected. I don't know if they're going to do this, and I don't know how long this has been part of Swamp Thing's lore, but he's the avatar of the green. That's what they
yeah,
call him now. So he is connected to all over the world. In the show, in the comic books, where there is the Justice League Dark, that's, think of it as all of DC's supernatural characters are
yeah.
in that, and they're solving supernatural crimes. He
Oh,
can transfer them all over the world. He takes them
uh,
through little portals and everything.
first Swamp Thing movie, in 1982, writer director Wes Craven.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
knew it was a name in horror. I
Yes,
just couldn't remember
yes,
who it
yes,
was.
yes.
But
Yeah. So
so
I can't, I know it's not on chapter one, but Gods and Monsters, I mean, he's introduced creature, what are those things called?
creature commandos, which
Creature
is
Commandos, Swamp Thing.
yeah,
That lines right up with Justice League Dark. Like Constantine has to be coming down the line, and
it does. I mean, even the creature commandos are, think about your kind of typical monster film.
yeah, but isn't Frankenstein in charge of them?
Yes, like
Like, isn't he the Captain
Frankenstein.
America version? Like there?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it's Frankenstein, but it's also like Bride of Frankenstein. Then there's the robot guy,
yeah,
um, Weasel
yes.
from Suicide
Suicide
Squad is
Squad.
in it. And a couple, like there's like an Abe Sapien, like mermaid ish person, and it's World War II fighting Nazis.
Yes.
I forgot to mention this, but a spin-off from the Peacemaker series, Viola Davis is going to return as
Oh yeah,
Wall,
Waller. Yeah.
and that's going to be a series. I interested to see where that goes. Viola Davis kills it as that character, but at the same time, Waller has just always been like this person behind the curtain, controlling things.
Which is almost, I know where you're coming from. It's almost, look, I'm going to tie this to Michael Myers, the original Halloween character. What made him so terrifying is you knew nothing about him. When you started giving him backstory, it took away all the mysticism of him. And Waller's she's not like Michael Myers, but she's like Nick Fury, but nobody knows her background.
Well, she's Nick Fury with a much harder edge.
Oh,
as
yeah.
you see in Suicide Squad. But I don't know. I'm afraid like the more they uncover that character, the less interesting I'm gonna
I agree
be in her. So
I agree. Yeah, so this
it.
is it's fun. I just want to know how many chapters are going.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe
so
each chapter they'll call it a phase. Maybe instead
Yeah.
of calling it a phase, they call it a chapter.
This year, and I think that's what it'd be. Each chapter is going to have like a title. So this first one is Gods and Monsters. I don't know what's coming next. So this year, so 2023 is all them filming and creating. So really it's 2024 stuff will start to come out in like TV land, I think. And then 2025 is when all those film projects are going to hit.
Which, if you think about it, it's really the right time. Okay. Because I think people are through lack of, I think people are kind of falling off the Marvel train
a little bit.
Yep. And I understood that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you start introducing B, C characters, there's a reason they're B, C characters, and not only that, like we just watched Wakanda Forever, which I thought it was good. It wasn't amazing, but I thought it was good. I had a good time with it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but
is that on Disney Plus now?
Yeah, it dropped the first.
Yeah, okay. I just talked to somebody else who's like, I just watched it. And I was like, I'm sorry.
No, I didn't think it was bad. In fact, what's funny is Ursula hated the first one and really enjoyed this one.
I hate it.
Which is, I don't know. You hate it?
I did not like it at all.
No, it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me one way or the other. But what I'm saying is I think a lot of more people are expecting to get blown away in Marvel movies, and I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
And I think when DC's dropping in here, like I'm really worried about Ant-Man Quantumania. I'm really worried that you're going to go there and go,
I have some pretty high expectations because I haven't been blown away in a Marvel film in a long time.
Right.
Like that's and with the expectation of like, I like when I went into Thor, Love and Thunder, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
Thor movie.
Yes.
It's got some some of the best moments of the Marvel universe.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And I didn't go in with to Wakanda Forever with high expectations. I'm like, they're making a movie that is in memoriam of the star of the last film with all of the supporting characters. To me, there was no standout star of that film.
Oh, I disagree. The
to
girl
me,
that got
was-
nominated, Angela Bassett, got nominated. I didn't see why she got nominated, but I thought Sherry did a great job.
Yeah, no,
I mean, all that emotion she was dealing with of vengeance, or I'm sorry, lost, vengeance. She tried to be compassionate, then she went back to vengeance, and then it just kept going where she was trying to do the right thing, but all this ugliness just started. She was losing people she loved, and all of a sudden, you know, she gets this power and she wants to rip somebody's head off, and then she has to pull back. That's a lot of emotional back and forth with a character.
She did not take me on that ride with her.
No?
Wow. Nope. Not for me. And
Okay.
and Namor, who in the comics can go toe to toe with the Hulk. Like that's his power level.
Yeah.
Should have ripped her in half.
In a regular fight, yeah, but when she was drying him out, I didn't see.
I don't know. I just, maybe I'll give it another look and see if that changes. But upon one viewing of it that I saw, I was like, no.
Were you expecting to go in there and get blown away?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't. I was expecting it. Especially after Love and Thunder, I was like, I'm expecting an average film, and to me, I got a very below average film.
Oh, I didn't think that. I thought it was good. I think there's a couple of movies where you and I are completely different, and I don't know what your criteria is going into these movies, because I feel like your criteria has shifted, and I can't pinpoint it, and I then tell myself, who gives a shit? Why are you trying to pinpoint what he likes and what he doesn't like, and just move on with your life?
Stop trying to put me in a box.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like lately I've been trying to put you in a box. Really, did a lot of soul searching against my podcast partner this week. Did a lot of soul searching.
Are we gonna have to hug it out when I see you in a couple of weeks?
No. I don't feel. I'm not mad at you or anything. I almost feel, believe it or not, there are sometimes I feel sorry for you. I'm like, what is he missing? Is it because like is he really paying attention to it? Is he not? Is he distracted? Is he expecting way too much out of? And
you just don't think I'm enjoying his life as much as I should.
No, not life. I don't think you're enjoying movies where I thought you would enjoy movies. That's all.
No.
But you know what though? Maybe you've elevated your movie experience. Maybe you're much more. I did this.
Mm-hmm.
I did this in my head. I said I think somewhere along the line you went Cisco and Ebert instead of just Greg, who was 12 years old and enjoyed movies because they spoke to him. Now I feel like you're much more, because you know how movies are made now. You have much more of an understanding. So I think you're expecting more out of it. And if you don't get a good performance, or if you don't get this, or if you don't get that, you're like, nah. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, maybe I've seen too much really good stuff that if anything is coming in below that, you may have a point, because I'm playing a video game right now.
Yeah.
And this game is called Forspoken, and it's for the PS5. It was previewed 2 years ago, and it was like the buzz of the giant video game convention where everyone's like, this is going to be the new thing. It looks amazing. And I was like, okay, so I pre-ordered it. It was my wife's Christmas gift to me, was that I could go pre-order this game, and it came out mid-January. Like, cool, I'm going to get that. In the meantime, I played God of War Ragnarok, which was up for Game of the Year last year, most deservedly. I didn't play the game that actually won Game of the Year, so I really can't say. But for me, Ragnarok was everything that it promised it would be. Just fantastic story, performances. The gameplay was great. And I expected that out of Forspoken, like coming from an award-winning, top of the line, absolutely killing it game to Forspoken, and I'm like, the animations are off. The dialogue is repetitive. The story's getting kind of repetitive. The gameplay is just grindy. And I'm like, gosh, you had how many years to, I mean, you previewed this game a couple of years ago. Like, come on. So yeah. So maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just getting old and set.
No, I didn't say old. I said you're going towards
Well,
Cisco and Ebert, where you're looking at a movie and you're critiquing it more than just being in the moment.
maybe.
That's all.
Because like Maverick. We talked about that the other couple episodes ago. I love Maverick. That's a great film. Like, I don't think it should be up for Best Picture, but I still had a lot of fun with that film.
Okay, that's good as long as you had fun with it. Yeah.
Like, Violent Night, had a blast with that film.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's also something to be said with going to a movie theater and it not giving you an experience where I was sitting at home and we didn't watch it from start to finish. We watched about a half hour into it. We were falling asleep, so we stopped it. Then we came back and we watched another half hour. We got busy, had to stop it, of Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
And then we watched it again. So to us, it was like a 3-part show. So, but we didn't go in there. Well, first off, I think Ursula went in there dreading it. And it's funny because I was walking around going, Wakanda forever. You know, I just like saying that. And she was like, oh, like, cause she didn't like the first one. She didn't like the first one at all. No, that's not true. She didn't mind it. She just didn't understand the hype behind it.
Right.
She could not wrap her brain around the idea of why is this such an amazing eventful movie? She goes, Iron Man was better than that. You know, and I'm like, well, the first one, I agree. The first one was better than the Black Panther. But anyway, so we had zero expectations for it. And I have but I don't know what that has to do. But I'm just saying, like, maybe going to the theater, you're expecting more it's an event. Like that's what Marvel used to do. It was an event. You walked out.
It was.
Yes.
I remember when Captain America: First Avenger came out. That was a big deal. Like, get your tickets early. Go.
I remember seeing. I remember hearing about Ant-Man and Paul Rudd, and I thought, what?
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. And then I saw the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right, maybe. Then I went, and then I was like, oh, it's fantastic. It was so much fun. This is a great movie.
And that's what I'm hoping for in Quantumania. Me too. Paul Rudd, I think, even if the movie's bad, Paul Rudd gives a great performance in just about everything he does.
Is he not one of those guys you root for every time?
Yeah.
I love Paul Rudd.
His big dramatic roles. He's got a show on Apple Plus. I can't remember the name of it. He plays a psychiatrist, and he's opposite
to Will Ferrell.
Ferrell.
To Will Ferrell. Yeah.
His performance in there, and which is a serious show. I mean, it's not much of I think maybe call it a comedy, but it's not much of a comedy.
How old is he, by the way?
Paul Rudd?
Yes.
I'll tell you in a second. I want to say he's in his 50s. Paul Rudd. The Shrink Next Door is the name of the name of that. He was born in 1969.
Holy shit. So he's 10 years older than me.
He's 54.
57. Oh, 54.
He's 54.
He was born in when?
Wait a minute. 2023, 1969.
Oh, I'm sorry.
April 6th, 1969.
No. That's my fault. I added wrong.
So he's 10 years older than me.
God, but he's a good-looking guy at that age. He ages well.
That's the running joke right now.
He's a vampire.
Yeah, that he bathes in the blood of virgins or something. Yeah,
sold his soul. Has a painting of what he really looks like in his closet.
Oh wow, he got paid $1 million an episode for The Shrink Next Door. Good for
him. He's kind of a big name now. I mean,
he is a big name. Good for
worked his way through. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that movie. I'm a little bit concerned. I'm just like if I'm being honest, and I have to go through all of them, I think Spider-Man No Way Home and that small little short about the Werewolf by Night were my two favorite in this phase.
Okay. Yeah. I would buy into that.
Yeah. I think those are my two favorite. So
Yeah, probably mine too.
I think I was really pleasantly surprised with Werewolf by Night. I didn't know where it was going, but I was pleasantly surprised by it. And the best part of that was the cameo of the monster. I was like, oh,
Man Thing.
I'm like, Man Thing's in this.
Out of any of the Marvel series, I mean, and not that
Moon Knight
is a series
didn't bother me.
But
like
Moon Knight, when it was over, I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean, not like good that it's over, but
I know
like,
what you mean.
good.
No, good.
Am I going to watch season 2? Yeah, but I wasn't like ravenous for season 2.
Yes.
At the end of Werewolf by Night, I was like, shit, it's over. I want more.
I agree.
Want more of that.
I agree. Give me more of that. Show me, whatever. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Yeah. All right, man. I had more to talk about, but we don't need to.
Talk about it later.
Huh?
More material for later.
Yeah. Did you get anybody talk to us? Anybody? Comments? Any comments?
No, not really. Pretty quiet.
Okay. I don't know if anyone was asking questions or anything like that. So
nope. Mom popped in a couple times, but that's fine.
What was that? Anything? Got trunks? No trunks? Oh, real quick, people. Since let's see. This is the 6th, February 6th.
Yeah. Well, okay. It's 5th today, but
February is right. Not February. It is here. Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Just so you guys know, in San Antonio and in New York at their respective zoos, you can name a cockroach, a rat, or a vegetable to feed to an animal. So if you want to name your ex, if you want to name your ex to a hissing, if you want to give your ex's name to a hissing cockroach, they will be fed to that animal. You can actually see it. You can actually get an email that you can send to your ex, and they will show that has that video.
That is a whole new level of spite. Wow.
Isn't that really? Can you imagine getting one of those emails on Valentine's Day that, hey, your ex just named you, and this is like, and they're feeding a mouse to a snake?
Wow.
So anyway, they're offering that. So if anybody's interested, it's the San Antonio Zoo as well as the New York Zoo. So
okay.
Yeah. So we'll leave you with that little nice tidbit. Now, Greg, tell everybody not to go be a douche.
Yeah, don't be a douche. I mean, I don't know if I would do that. I mean, and I've got a couple exes, but
I was going to ask you, is there anyone that you would? You would never have to name them, but is there anybody that you would? It is pretty pricey, though. I don't have the prices up. But.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's one in particular. Yes, I mean,
yes.
I would. Yeah, she cheated on me, so I'm like, screw you. But that has been so long ago that I'm like,
that isn't it almost a different life?
Oh, it's total. I was in high school. Are you kidding me?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not hanging on to that anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Until you bring it up, and now I'm like, oh yeah, that happened to me. That sucked.
I can see Krista going, Greg, why did you charge? What did you buy at the San Diego Zoo? Or
why is it named this? Oh, no reason.
Yeah. So anybody out there that's still spiteful, can't let it go, and that might help you move through.
Yeah.
So all right, G, talk us out.
Yeah, don't be a douche, but maybe, no, just don't. Just let it go.
Yeah, let it go. Move on.
Find another way to get some progressive therapy or something.
There you go. So for the Greg, this is Johnny saying, take care. Have a good week. See you next Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday. Yeah. Podcast out.
Yeah.
Bye.